Hey, what is up, everyone? JM Anime here, and I'm talking about two of the most popular genre in the anime community, Shonen and Seinen. Today, I'm going to talk about the comparison between either genres and how they contradict towards one another. If you're going to enjoy the content, feel free to drop a like, comment, and subscribe for future content. And with that, let's get into the video. Now, pretty much as me and most people growing up from time as kids, an interesting factor that piques our interest into getting into anime were the action, fights, and comedy scenes like those from Dragon Ball, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Naruto, and pretty much others. This couple upon depicts anime and manga or the shonen genre. But firstly, let's explain the term shonen. The term shonen reflects the demographic group of anime and manga targeted towards early and late teenage boys, though it's not primarily specified to a single gender, as others find entertainment in various anime in the shonen platform. Okay, but back to shonen itself. Despite being a young adult, my interest in the genre hasn't dulled in the slightest, making a contribution towards the notion that shonen fits various age gaps, even from kids to adults per se. However, since it's expressed towards a specified young demographic, the general main focus actually expressed towards something I would like to call a friendly and fun content, in which it excludes things that could perhaps be demeaning, explicit, glory, especially to the young audience, which in a way kinda drops some points towards expressing great concept towards a story or manga. In all honesty, growing up, I kinda reduced my overall score towards the shonen genre as some intriguing concepts aren't established in a story. Now, this doesn't engage the fact that all shonen anime lose validity due to certain concepts. Instead, some shonen actually incorporate interesting scenarios into their story. An excellent example is Naruto. As being an avid reader of the story, the protagonist displays what a determined and positive mindset can succeed in anything. Another is the ideology on what is truly right, with clear justification of two opposing motions, similarly portrayed by the anti-hero of the story. Another favorite mention I'd like to say is One Piece with its numerous themes, such as the Celestial Dragon, a group of people with authoritative power thinking they're superior upon everyone, the hardship among fishermen, the doping of strength depicting drug influence, and other themes which might not really pour meaning towards the younger audience but spark an interest to the older demographic. Don't get me wrong, this isn't in any way to downgrade any genre over another, but instead explain the comparison and how they contradict one another. Speaking of difference, let's finally talk about the seinen genre. Now, when engaging in the seinen genre, is something I pretty much like to describe as a matured content, as which, as I grew older, my interest in it actually became something I realized. To that, the genre actually focused towards a demographic group of entertainment toward older teenage boys and grown adults. This is because the seinen genre, unlike shonen, gave emphasis on almost any possible content to a story without restrictions, pretty much expressing elements that might not be content friendly or possibly censored toward an unspecified audience. Examples are gory scenes like intense bloodbaths, similar illustration of human workkind, extreme details of suffering, and okay, pause. You get the point. Keeping it user friendly. But yeah. Examples of the seinen genre are animes like Berserk, Tokyo Ghoul, Lead, and a couple of others. And similarities of this series is that they showcase scenarios that project something you want to expect, gives meaning of an idea or a relatable theme or a sense of reality, which is either portrayed by the anime characters or story in general. At which in shonen, it might follow a similar trend, but until way later in their stories, as it migrates bit and bit from a younger audience to an older demographic. Despite the general mentions, there are certain anime that at first glance have different general impressions, genre translations, or even exceptions in their own rights. For examples, animes like Tokyo Ghoul, Attack on Titan, and Death Note, which actually gave the first notion of a seinen before realization that its publications were made for the shonen demographic. Let's be real, scenes like Kaneki Kagune transformation, 6 to 20 meters naked giant eating people, and 100% IQ and sarcasm in Death Note didn't give you the seinen impression? Yeah, that's what I thought. But yeah, moving on. Another example comes from Akira JoJo Bizarre Adventure, which changed the storyline from around like pretty much part 6 from a shonen to a seinen background. There have also been ongoing and upcoming exceptions, which published from the shonen category but had impression of a seinen ever since the start of its manga, like Chainsaw Man and pretty much steady stretch Jujutsu Kaisen. This pretty much entails increasing how much freedom the mangaka wants to express based on their respective story. But in all said, and either way, each genre has a unique aspect on what they entail and what makes them in general likable. To say they are both popular genre in the anime community, and the occasions at which they intertwine makes them all the more better. Thanks for watching. Feel free to drop ideas on what you might want to see. And once again, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the post notification for future content creation that works too. I'm your host, JM Anime, signing out.